the final week of LGBTQ+ History Month, and we're looking at how the England and Wales cricket boards want cricket to be the most inclusive sport in the UK.
Our reporter Chris Reidy spoke to players from 4 LGBT inclusive cricket clubs at Edgbaston the first time they've met.
Leo, Hattie, Steve, Lachlan, thanks for joining me in Sky Sports News for this chat around LGBT History Month. All of you really, why did you sort of set up and get involved in the LGBT cricket groups that you're here representing today?
And it was during COVID actually that, it became very clear for members of the LGBTQ community they'd lost a lot of their spaces to socialise and to connect. And I knew of Grace's, who had been running for over 20 years by that time down in London. And I kind of got in touch with them to find out about the club and how they did it. And then crazily came up with the idea of trying to start a cricket club in Birmingham.
Leo, obviously you're part of the start of Grace's, and then you've seen other clubs form after that.
I joined Grace's 2009, which is when I moved to London on a full-time basis. I'd played cricket since a kid, really, age 4 or 5 in the garden. I wanted to get back into playing cricket. I wanted to play cricket in a sort of, and combine cricket and my sexuality, which I wasn't massively comfortable with. So that's why I got involved in Grace's.
I don't know the stat, but I think there was like a huge drop-off in the game from, I think, is it 16 to 19 as it is? Yeah. Like tons of players in that age group, regardless of gender and sexuality, disappear from cricket. And we don't always know the reasons why, but in some of those cases it is because, unfortunately, that these people don't necessarily feel comfortable with who they are in that environment.
In terms of going to a cricket match, if you were to go to Edgbaston or to Lords or to the Oval, as a member of the LGBT community, is there ever a second thought about how you might be perceived there or go into the game? Is that ever something that's on your mind?
No, not for me personally. I'm very comfortable here. As you can probably tell, I'm not the most flamboyant person anyway, but even so, even if I was, I wouldn't have a problem coming here whatsoever, and I've not had a problem wherever I've gone.
In terms of saying about allies at all levels of the game, I always think of the incident with Joe Root in the West Indies a couple of years ago.
What's up?
There was a lot of coverage of it at the time, but I don't think it's necessarily given enough credit for what a great moment of allyship that was. This wasn't something that was sort of read off some cue cards in a press conference. Like, this was something that was said off the cuff, and Joe, to his credit, immediately said, look, there's nothing, don't use that as an insult, there's nothing wrong with being gay. And that was massive for a player of that status.
I'm in agreement there with the Joe Root, the incident. Do you remember that strongly? Because I'd actually forgotten about that until you brought it up, to be fair. Do you remember?
I certainly was in the closet at the time to watch that, and it literally made me cry. I'd been in the closet for a long, long time, and when I started doing interviews with you guys, it's the first time I started really kind of coming out. Meanwhile, my daughter was just clapped, and like, Joe's her favourite player.
The ICEC report that came out last year, just wanted to ask your opinions on that when you first of all read it.
There were lots of people in the LGBTQ community who were annoyed, but I was like many people in the community and decided, well, they're doing a call for evidence. They're not looking specifically for LGBTQ experiences, but I'm going to write and tell them anyway. There were quite a few people who did that, and that's how, I guess, the annex to the report.
So it's held a mirror up, as I think the title was, and it says, look, like, this is happening. Let's not ignore it. Let's do something about it. A lot of positive steps towards inclusion are such small, minor things.
Is that just like being careful, or just reading up on what sort of language you use, or being careful around stuff like that? Is that the kind of things you're talking about?
Every cricket club that I've ever looked at on their website tells me they're inclusive. As a gay man, that tells me nothing, because you're all saying you're inclusive. But, have they done anything explicit around LGBTQ inclusion, be it something around LGBT History Month or Pride Month or their local Pride event or whatever it might be? Have they made that explicit? If they did that, I'd automatically think, oh, actually, they're thinking about this.
Leo, Hattie, Steve, Lachlan, thank you so much for joining me today here on Sky Sports News. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Fantastic report there from our reporter, Chris Reidy. Great to see so many people getting involved with the game of cricket. Over the course of this weekend, guys, this is the official EFL match ball that has been used up and down the country for the first time ever. It's got the pride flag rainbow branding to celebrate LGBTQ+ History Month. So that's the ball that's been used over the course of the weekend. And this month has been used to celebrate all of the fantastic work that gets done, the activism that happens, and all those people that work so tirelessly to try and change the game, to make it more inclusive and to make sure that everyone feels like they can go and watch football, or in that case, go and watch some cricket.